Hey guys, welcome back to the shop for another week of Saturday Night Special. And this week we're going to get back onto the lathe, the Victor lathe, and we're going to finish out the new shaft that I've been machining for the K&T electric motor. That's the motor that comes out of the K&T mill there. We're going to get that finished out, and we're probably going to have one more episode next week that will completely finish it out with the keyway and getting it pressed back into the rotor. All right. So still working on that, but we're just about finished with it. All right. We've also got another Machinery's Handbook to give away, and I got a couple of cool handmade gifts right there that I want to share with you from some other creators that one creator that I had met up at the Good of the Land Fest. And I want you guys to know that there's going to be another video coming out after this SNS that's going to be on the new machine that I acquired. I got a new radial arm drill press, not a new one, but you know, new to me. So I've got that footage of this week of getting it, receiving it, and then bringing it home. So we're going to have a whole separate video of that. So be sure to check that out. It'll come out after this episode. All right. I also wanted to point out that I've finally got my fixture plate back, my Fireball tool fixture plate. I had left this with Jason at the FabTech event, and mainly because this thing is so stout, you know, so heavy that I didn't want to have to lug this thing all the way back to the car after the event. So I left it with him, and then he just crated it up with all his stuff, sent it back, and then he sent it out to me. And I also wanted to show you that I've got some more of the fixture plates. So this is what they look like bare casting, and I went ahead and bought 10 more of these from Jason. I've got them over there stacked up by the shaper, and I plan on making 10 more of these things, at least 10 more. So we'll start with 10. And I know that there's been a lot of guys that have shown interest in this, but I have not figured out a price point for these yet. I want to make another one and really get this thing streamlined, and I've got a couple of changes that I want to make, you know, things like that. So there is going to be 10 of them, but I'm just doing some extra things to it that I didn't do to this one right here. They're going to be tagged. I'm having some tags made up so that they'll be tagged and numbered, you know, and just don't know where I'm going to be on that. But anyway, I'm hoping that maybe in January I'm going to start working on these things right here, and then whenever I get things figured out, I'll let everybody know if somebody wants to purchase one of those things. But I've got some other projects that I want to get started on first and get those completed. I've got a couple of collaboration videos that I need to get, or collaboration projects that I have agreed to that I want to do first, and then we're going to have video content of that and share that. And hopefully in the new year, maybe January, I'll be able to start getting some machine work done on these fixture plates, and maybe get a whole row of 10 of those things made up. So anyway, let's go ahead and get to our Machinery's Handbook. So this one was donated by Mike Ray again. So Mike actually sent me 6 of these books. All right, and this is the second one. So Mike can be found. Practical Metal, he's on YouTube. All right, so very cool of Mike to donate 6 of these. All right, we're now up to 1,270 entries into the handbook giveaway. And for those wondering, I've got the link for that form in the video description down below if you want to enter into that. So click that, fill out the form, submit it, and your name will be in the drawing. So this week, the random number generator selected number 912, and that is Joseph Collins. And Joseph, I apologize, I did not write down your location on this piece of paper, but it'll be in the video anyway, so I apologize about that. I know it was California, so we got another California winner. And Joseph's favorite content on my channel, he says shaper, anything shaper, he really enjoys it. So thank you, Joseph. I really love doing the shaper work myself. And so footage that he would like to see more of in the future, he says more setup coverage and show why I fix things the way that I do. So that's actually good input right there, you know. So when I'm doing jobs, when I'm talking to the camera and I'm down here and I'm doing jobs on the mill, on the lathe, I'm usually trying to talk to the camera as I'm doing things, and it's always in my mind that people want some explanations of what I'm doing and why. So I try to do that, and I'm sure there's room for improvement, that I could do more. So definitely keep that in mind, Joseph, and for all you other guys that might suggest that as well. So I'll get this book in the mail this coming week and get it to you, send you a couple stickers with it, and KBC Tools t-shirt to go with it as well. All right. So when I was up at the Good of the Land Fest in Texas, I got to meet Eric from Hand Tool Rescue. A lot of you guys probably know who Eric is, but if you don't, check him out on YouTube at Hand Tool Rescue. He's got an awesome channel. He does lots of tool restorations, and he's starting to work on a power hammer, doing a restoration on a power hammer, and really excited that I'm going to be collaborating with Eric on doing a little bit of machine work for him on that power hammer. But this is a tool that Eric makes, and he sells them, and he gave me one of these wrenches whenever I met him up at the Good of the Land Fest. So really cool, Eric, to donate one of his awesome wrenches to the cause around here. And I'm actually going to keep this thing out here and hopefully share it on some videos being used. It's a really cool wrench, and he shows this thing being used quite a bit on his channel during his tool restoration, things like that. Great for holding square-headed bolts and just, man, all kind of things. So it's what, now according to Eric, because I'm not an expert on wrenches, this is modeled after a King Dick wrench that was originally patented by Billings, the Billings Wrench Company, and I believe it was the late 1800s when that patent went out, and I think it was King Dick that must have made this style of wrench, also known as like a fish belly wrench or a pocket wrench or a bicycle wrench, is what Eric had told me. And so it's a really cool, it seems to be a very handy wrench, and I look forward to keeping around here. But he makes these himself, does a lot of machine work to get this thing to fit. It's got a very, very close tolerance fit in there, and it tightens up nice and square. And he says you can really torque down on this thing to hold, you know, a bolt or whatever it is, a nut that you're working with. So really cool of Eric to send that, and I look forward to collaborating with him. So Eric, thank you very much, and look forward to seeing that machine work show up down here and helping you out on that power hammer restoration. Here's another way cool handmade gift that was given to me by Jason McDonald from McDonald Handmade, and I know Jason from his Instagram account, so he is on Instagram. I'm not sure if he's on YouTube, but you can check him out at mcdonaldhandmade.com. And this is a bottle opener that he forged himself. Pretty cool. It looks like he even made the keychain looking piece right here out of a piece of welding rod. But yeah, very cool. Thank you very much, Jason. I enjoy seeing your post. He likes the old vintage iron and machinery also, and he's always showing some old equipment that he's buying and selling over there on Instagram. So again, thank you very much, Jason. Really cool right there. I got in some really nice gifts for my friend Barry Robinson from Robinson Sons Hardware, and anytime you get something from Barry, man, it's like Christmas. It's like opening up presents, man. He always wraps the stuff up so nice and just elegantly. So he's got a couple things in here that we're gonna check out. This is a Norton selective wheel for different speeds for your grinding wheels. We're gonna check that out. All right, there's Barry's business right there, and you can find him on his Etsy store. Okay, he has a lot of cool things for sale on Etsy, old tooling, that kind of stuff. I haven't even been into this yet right here. I was kind of saving it, but this is something that he had. Actually, there's 3 items here. There's two of them in here. But you see that? I mean, he's got all of his little pieces of tape. I just love this. I guess that's the right way you do it. You know, when you go to a real hardware store, just like Pensacola Hardware, they do the same thing. They'll actually wrap it up for you. So we have a cool gift here that he told me that I knew that I would love, and I do. So check this out. Brown & Sharp tools. This is a felt, and this is what would be used, say, on a display or a counter, say at a hardware store or some kind of store where they sell Brown and Sharp tools. This might have even been used by a salesman also, but I think this was used on a storefront, like at a hardware store. And this is where you would you know, pull your tools out here and show your customer. Let me grab one and we'll demonstrate that. So here's my Brown and Sharp 1-2 mic that I always use, my favorite 1-2 mic. So if this was like, say, a new mic and you were looking at it at a store, they would put this there on the display on the counter and have a nice soft cool matting to display their Brown and Sharp tools while you look at them. So that's a really unique piece right there, and even though it has a little bit of, you know, aging to it and damage and whatnot, it's a good piece of history right there for machinist tooling and precision tools and that kind of stuff. So really cool of Barry to think of me with this, and thank you very much, Barry. This is going to be great. Hopefully we can use this on some of our videos when we're sharing some of our tools that we get into. You know, every now and then I kind of talk about some different micrometers and things like that come in. All right, so we got our other two things out of the packaging there. So this was one of the other ones, and this is a speed calculator made by the Norton company, you know, Norton Abrasives. This is for grinding wheels. So you have two discs here. You have an inner and an outer, you know, and this rotates. Speed calculator for grinding wheels. So it lists your diameter of the grinding wheels on this inner ring here, starting at 1 inch and goes all the way around to 60 inches, which is insane. I've never seen a wheel that big. But your outer shows your surface speed. So you line up, there's an arrow right here that you line up on your surface speed. Okay, and then you find whatever diameter wheel you're running, and then that gives you your surface speed out there. If you were running grinders all day, this would be something that you'd probably have on you all the time. So cool little piece right there. Thank you very much for that, Barry. And then the third item right here is this really cool pen. Actually, it's not a pen, it's a clip made by Lufkin Rule Company. It's got a little Lufkin micrometer on there, and it's a clip. So I'm not exactly sure what this one would be labeled as. I thought at first, whenever Barry had showed it to me, that it was a tie clip. So I don't know if you use it as a tie clip because it kind of sticks out on the back. But anyway, it's going to go in my cabinet, and it's a nice little piece from the Lufkin Rule Company. Really good tools. You know, I love Lufkin. I think they're just as high a standard quality as any of the other ones like Brown and Sharp or Starrett. So thank you very much for that, Barry. That's a really cool piece. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started back on our electric motor shaft and getting it finished. So we're 60 thousandths large on all of our journals. We're going to start with this end first. So we'll get it chucked on this end, and then we will get this bearing journal turned on this side first to get this finished. And then what we'll do is flip it around and chuck this side, and then we're going to finish out all of this in one shot. Okay, so finish the short side first and then finish all this. And then make sure all this is turned true with this bearing journal right here. And once we get all that turned, hopefully it'll turn nice and straight. We'll get everything on size. We'll go to the mill a keyway, drill these two holes right there. So these holes, by the way, are not drilled in line with the key, and I don't think it matters. I think somebody's just, you know, whoever made that shaft, they just did it wherever. But once we set up and mill the key, then we'll drill this hole in line with that. And we'll probably have to flip it around and get this hole, but we'll just make the holes in line with the keyway right there. That's just for fans. There's no timing issues there. All right, the rotor itself, we've already got this thing cleaned up. Used the homemade flap disc in the grinder and just went in there and just kind of polished out the bore a little bit, just to kind of get rid of the rust and corrosion and dust and stuff that's in there. All right, and then we also took another flap disc and just softened up the sharp edges there on each end, cleaned up some of the rust that was on that last lamination, and I have gotten some measurements inside there, and I know what that is. I know what we need to turn the shaft to, so I'm shooting for 1.757 on this journal right here. That's going to press into the rotor. I'm giving myself a thousandths tolerance. I was trying to think of what I wanted to say there. I'm giving myself a 1,000th tolerance on that. I shoot for the high side of the tolerance. That way I can polish it down if I need to. I don't like shooting for dead on. I like to give myself a little bit of room there. So with that, let's go to the lathe and start turning. Make sure the tailstock's tight. We're going to put our indicator right here and see what it's running, and if we need to, we're going to dial this thing in. For those of you watching that don't know, this is my TMX 6-jaw chuck that I recently got this year. This is mounted to an adjustable backing plate here, so you have the ability to adjust this thing in so that it's running absolutely true if you need to. All right, so let's go ahead and check that now. So we're still getting about the same amount of run out that we were getting before, about 1,000ths. So let's see. Now, since I'm gonna try to adjust this, let me get this to where I can see it a little bit easier. All right, so we've got a screw there, so good. We got a screw there. If I remember right, whenever I was adjusting this thing the first time out of the box, it was sort of like opposite, which was really throwing me off. It's still throwing me off, but let's go ahead and give it a shot. I believe these are 10mm socket heads. Yeah, okay. 10mm. So we're within a 0.5 now. I think we're going to be within a 0.5, but I'll put my test indicator up here so that we can see just how close we are. We've got our inter-rapid test indicator up there, and you should be able to see that about a 0.5, and that's as close as I can get it right there. Doesn't seem like the surface is perfectly round. One of the things going on there, but that's within a 0.5, so we're going to run it right where it's at there. So here's the insert that I was using to rough this, and this is the first time I've actually used one of these inserts, but it is the Seco, and I bought these off eBay. There's the numbers for you if you're interested in it. So it's a TP3500 is the grade, CNMG 432. Let's see. So MF5 is the chip breaker style that's molded into it. It seemed to do a really good job. These are great for tougher materials. So that was a pack that I bought just like that off of eBay. All right, and they had even wrote that on there. So they were using it for Manel and considered it a rough turning insert for roughing. Okay. All right, so there's that. That was my roughing insert there. Now this is the one that you've probably seen me use a lot. I show this on a lot of my shaft building footage. So it's an ISCAR insert. These are excellent inserts that don't break the bank. They're usually less than $8 a piece. CNMG 431 TF IC 8250. That's the grade. Okay. So I like using a number 1 431 corner radius. So that's going to be the 1/64 corner radius there. Very tight, and these are great inserts, like I said, that don't cost a lot of money. So we'll tighten that up in there, but that is the insert right there. I'm going to give myself a 18mm wide journal right there for the bearing. Just using the scale there, butt it up against the tip of the tool. All right, that looks pretty good right there. About 18 millimeters. It's 1mm wider than what the bearing is. I'm going to take 10,000 step to cuts on these. I usually like to take 20. I take 3 passes at 20 thousandths depth, but this one's already a little bit under what I wanted it, so we're just going to sneak up on it with 10 thousandths. See, you're not really getting the depth that I want, so it's not going to leave the finish like I really want. We could speed it up, but I really don't like running it. I'm running 700 RPM right now, and I could go up to 900. It really screams whenever you put it in those higher gears like that. So we're going to go 1.377 on this one right here. Let's see how it does at 900 RPM. Yeah, see, it ain't gonna handle it. It's trying to chatter on me. Just too much speed. There's not enough rigidity there. Let's take it back down to 7 and see if it still tries to chatter on us. Yep. I'm trying to eliminate having to run a steady rest on this thing. Tell you what we might have to do is increase our depth of cut. I'm just trying to feel if it's trying to start chattering on me. Maybe that'll work right there. All right, this is our final cut on this journal here. So this one is going to be slightly under where the bearing is going. That's why I'm finishing those separate. All right, 378 is where I was shooting for 377 on that one. So we got it thousandths larger than I wanted to right there. We're going to be right on top of that journal as we finish this one right here, but that's okay. This should be my final cut to make on this bearing journal right here. All right, and I'm getting 391. I want to finish that at 379, so I got a little bit room there to polish. So that's going to be 12 thousandths. Dial in 12 thousandths. I'm going to go ahead and double check it. And see, I'm not touching the other journal there, so we should be right where we need it. Just cleaning that face up. Brought it in 2 thousandths. All right, we got 379, so that's going to give me about a half a thousandths to polish that, and it should bring it right on down to the high side of the tolerance for the bearing journal. I'm going to go ahead and machine this undercut on this side. It's 1 3/8. All right, so that way that side's already done. I won't have to flip the tool around and do that. I'm gonna make a witness mark. That's a 20 thou depth of cut, and we kicked it up to a 10 thou feed rate. Alright, that was our finished cut there. So we'll break this edge and do our polishing now. We got some 320 grit here. Not going to take much. I'm going to 1.3785. That's according to my chart, so we're almost there. We're at 7/10 right there, so we got another 2/10. All right, so there we are. We hit it. 378 and a half. And I am using my SKF bearing chart right here. I've got it marked where I want it. It gives me my high and low on the tolerance. So that's it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hit this side right here a little bit, just to kind of brighten it up some. All right, we wanted 377 on that one. All right, so we're good to go there now. All right, so this side is done. Now, usually what I'll do, let me find some and I'll show you. Usually like to take this gray Scotch-Brite and go up one speed there. All right, and just kind of polish it. It blends the corners real well, helps really brighten it up, make it look really nice. Just like that. Ideally, whenever I'm turning these shafts, especially on the pacemaker at work, I've gotten really dialed in on that machine. I can usually turn these things in and I don't need any polishing on it. I can usually hit it within a half a thousandths and it be right there on the size that I want. Normally what I'll do is I'll take paper just like this. At work I have 400 grit and I'll hit it just lightly, and it doesn't put scratch marks in it or polishing marks, but it just smooths the surface up and makes it look really good. And then I just go over it with this gray Scotch-Brite to really make it pop and shine good. So, all right, so we're done with this side. Now we're going to flip it around and repeat everything we just did. All right, so we're going to chuck right there on this journal right here. Make sure that the center is clean, and I usually like to blow the center out a little bit. All right, let's see what kind of run out we're showing up here. We'll do our dial indicator because it's just so much easier to follow that. Look at that. That's within that half a thousandths that we had on the other side right there. So, you know what, that's just really cool. I've never had a scroll chuck that repeated so well, and this one's doing a fine job at it. I don't know if you're getting a glare. I'll try to block the glare just in case. But within a half a thousandths. I'm not even worried about the test indicator there. So I had mentioned when we were roughing this out that this shoulder length right here, I was going to make this 8 inches 93 thousandths. So I left this side a little bit shy so that we can face it to the right length there. I left it about a 1/16 shy, and it's right on just that. 8 inch 156, so we've got a 1/16 to take off that shoulder right there. So that's the first thing I'll do is go ahead and cut this shoulder in to the right face length and then have our 0 set right there. There's 30, that should be half of it. Just feeding it by hand in there. Okay. Should put me within a few thousandths right there. See that? Come on, square up. 8 inch 92. We got it. Let's go ahead and do our same bearing journal length right here. We set it at 18 millimeters from the face there. All right, that's 18. That's a 20 thousandths cut. We got a 7,000 speed rate going, 600 RPM. All right, this is going to be my final pass right here. I've been averaging about half a thousandths taper down this thing. It seems to be maintaining that, about a half a thousandths taper, so I'm just going to work that into my numbers right there. All right, that'll be our final cut on this journal here. Hopefully that's going to be good, and then we'll move on to our bearing journal here. Alrighty, looks like I hit it right where I wanted it. I was shooting for about a half to 1 over, so I wanted 378 on that. I'm going to finish it at 377, so I was shooting for like 378. And we got it there, so I'll be able to hit that lightly, and it'll be right where we want it. So let's go ahead and move on to this one now. And we got 60 thousandths to come off, so I'm going to touch it. And we're going to do 20 thousandths cuts. Just slow my feed rate down back to 5 thousandths. Yep, we got 39 thousandths. So do another 20, and then hopefully that'll leave us 19 thousandths on our last cut right there. And that's typically how I like to finish in all my journal sizes, 20 thousandths a pass. Try to hit it in 3 cuts. I like using my calculator real quickly just to verify that what I'm adding up in my head is actually the correct number, because it sucks whenever you're trying to do something like this and you go 1 thousandths under that and then the bearing's loose. So I'm just verifying, I'm just backing up my measurements, and I'll usually double check it, pull off, and then come back onto it and mic it again and verify that you're still reading the same number there. $379, just the way I wanted it. Okay, I'm setting this next shoulder length there for our undercut. I'm setting it to 5.5. That's what our journal right here is, 5.5 inches wide. Check this and make sure I hit it. See, I had a little bit deeper. All right, 745. I was going with a higher depth of cut on this, and that's why it's leaving a better finish on this right here. All right, let's get this last journal finished in. We're going to finish it at 1.757 inches. It should take 3 cuts across here and get it right there to size. That's going to give me about 1 thousandths of tolerance to play within, and if I have to, I'll polish it down just a bit. All right, this is going to be our final cut right there. So that's giving me 22 thousandths to finish it where I want it. So we're just going to shoot. We're going to shoot for it. Dial in 22 and let her go. That's some finishes I'm looking for right there. All right, we got it right on what I want on this end here. I mean, finish size. And we still got that half a thou taper, so I'm going to have to polish this side a little bit. About a half a thousandths down, should be no issue right there. Perfect. We got that right on 35 millimeters right here. This one we only wanted a half a thou. Got about 1 more tenth and then that will be there. So I'm going to work on my half dowel taper that I got in this, starting with this side right here. And it's looking good already. Okay. I'm going to keep working at that and get that done. I don't want to keep boring you with the same stuff there, but that's how we get it done, and then we'll hit it with our Scotch-Brite. That should be it. Lathe work should be done. We've got them all on our sizes the way we want it, so got it polished up, looking good. So that's it for the lathe work. We're gonna go out of here, and next up we're gonna do our keyway, drill our 2 holes, and the machine work will be finished.